FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello. Welcome to episode 176 of WhysAdvice, and thank you all for being here. I hope you downloaded the WhysAdvice app out of the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. I hope that's the way you've tuned in. If not, you can certainly find it in Spotify. You can find it in Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio. You can find it in Apple Podcast, or you can go to strictly to FatDag.com. But I think the app is the best way to find it. But I've been seeing some of the download numbers. You guys are listening all kinds of cool places. So thank you for being here. Thanks for making this journey exciting. Thanks for making the journey fun. Thanks for making it every day we wake up focused, wanting to be part of a community that's getting it done. Episode 176 here. I don't know if I opened the show correctly or not, but we're on episode 176, and we're going to kind of recap episode 175. So if you haven't listened to 175, my advice would probably be go back, tune into 175 first, at least the beginning, get in the right mindset, because this is going to kind of dovetail directly into what we talked about in 175. And just for a brief recap, 175 talks about a young man, Trevor, who came up to me and let me know how proud of his mom he was. And it was just a really cool experience because there was a point in my day where it's just, lots of things have been going on. And I'll be honest, I wasn't contemplating, not doing this anymore. But I was at that frustration point where I was really kind of just wondering, is this making a difference? And Trevor came up to me at that moment and said, Mike, you're making a difference. And so that was very, very, very cool. So episode 176 starts off with Jennifer. And she said, Mike, after listening to 175, if that wasn't the hand of God leading you to that restaurant at that exact moment to meet this young man at the exact time you were having doubts about your mission, then I don't know what is. That, sir, was confirmation that you are on the right road, that you are doing the right thing. The enemy of our souls will try to discourage us and make us doubt. You are changing lives. Don't give up on your mission until your work is done. And you will get confirmation at that time too, when and if it comes. But don't give up, because some people are jerks or question your motives. I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know what went down, but just block out the haters. So glad you're not giving up on the podcast. They are a godsend. Thank you so much, Jennifer. So like I said, there was never a point where I was actually thinking considerably, seriously of not doing this anymore. It was just that moment of frustration, knowing that, I'm doing the best that I can, and I want to encourage people. And, and then, like I said, when you can reach the entire world can reach back. And I learned a couple things over the course of the weekend. And of course, this certainly validated it is, there are people out there who really are content and happy with just making you miserable, and they want you to be miserable with them. And I've figured out that no response sometimes is the best response, because that way they're not even sure if they were heard. If you respond, then at least you give them confirmation that their message was delivered, and the only message I care about was the message that Trevor delivered to me and said, "Yeah, Mike, you're changing lives, and thanks for what you've done, and and keep up the great work." And so that's where I want to shift my focus. I want to make sure that we stay dialed in, so that anyone who needs the show, who wants the show, who's working their journey properly, has whatever support that they have. And so, Jennifer, thanks for your note. I agree with you, and we try not to bring religion into the show. I try and keep it generic for all audiences, and that's a balance that I try and strike. But I 100% agree with you, is that you're right. That was, God was absolutely using Trevor to deliver a message to me that night. I'm 100% certain of that. There's more to what's going on than I've shared through these channels, but at that exact moment, we were both in the right spot. I even had, I don't know if you saw the photo, I even had on a shirt that said WhysAdvice. And so it was interesting as I put that shirt on deliberately that night. I remember when we were going to dinner, I put it on because I needed to feel, for lack of a better term, powerful, and I needed my own energy to bring me through the evening and get me through that night. And so I put that shirt on because I knew it would make me feel good about what we're doing. And so we went there, had an amazing time and an amazing experience. And I'm positive, like I said, absolutely, Trevor walking up and delivering the message. He delivered it so beautifully, so perfectly. It was absolutely incredible. So I agree with you, Jennifer, 100%. Thank you for your note. Rochelle writes in with episode 175 and says, "Hey, FatDag, as I was listening to your podcast today, episode 175, I was walking and trying not to completely sob, listening to you talk about words and how they make you feel. The thought of you possibly stop doing these podcasts, I was like, no, how am I going to do this? As you state so many times, you are only a tool. I'm one of the many people that do FatDag roulette, so if you don't have a new show, it's no big deal. But more important, it had me thinking about how hurtful words can be. I'm so glad that kid found you to give you the encouragement that you needed. In the past, if someone had said something hurtful to me, I would immediately drown out my sorrows in food. With the help of everyone, that is no longer the case. I was waiting to reach a new goal weight to write you, but you were talking about celebrating the day and be the prize, so I'm taking advantage of today and be the prize. So many people have approached me, did you lose weight? Wow, how in the heck did you do it? But seeing them in the meeting room is so powerful. I'm extremely lucky to have my job start to pay for half of the membership and have Weight Watchers at work. So, here I am, spreading the news of you and cheering them on. In fact, I go to 2 meetings most weeks so I can continue to stay focused and cheer everyone on. Even with the same topic, different things come up, and each leader approaches the topic differently. I hope when you are reading this on air, I will have lost 175 pounds. But until then, I'm happy with my current loss of 168 pounds, but so much more than that, I'm happy with all the things that I can do that I couldn't previously do. One day, I will be able to join with and in everyone else on Team Lifetime. But until then, the feeling you talking about, I'm feeling, and I can't wait until the scale catches up. I want to wish everyone good focus. Rochelle, 168 pounds. I apologize for jumping your email to the front of the queue and not giving you a chance to get to that 175 mark, but it made perfect sense to work it into the show tonight. So 168 pounds. You understand how powerful that is? Do you understand just how amazing of an accomplishment that is? There are a handful of people on the entire planet that can say that. You're one of them. And I'm honored to be here talking with you as you go through that. And you're right, I am just a tool. I admit that freely. And there are times part of me wonders, as I do the podcast daily, except for the days that I don't, that am I creating a scenario where people become too dependent on this? And I realize that the answer may be yes, but it doesn't matter. But because I want to continue being here, this is not something that's going away. That was never truly in jeopardy. But you can do this whether I'm here or not. But as long as you need it, it's here, it's working, we're getting it done. FatDag Roulette certainly is the way to stay focused. And I agree with you. The nice thing about that is that it just keeps you checked in and it keeps you in the game. It's amazing how words really do impact our journey. And I like to think I have pretty thick skin. I like to think that words don't just bother me, but there is a point where you have to just take a moment and step back and try and figure the whole thing out. And so that's what I've done, and that's all it was. And Trevor delivering that message so beautifully poised and at the exact right time certainly validated for me. But it's just that moment where, if you have an opportunity to say something nice to somebody, you absolutely should reach out and do it. But if for some reason you don't agree, or it just doesn't work, or there's really no reason to be completely hateful to someone that was never hateful to you in the first place. So it does make us take a moment to sit back and say, wait a minute, words matter. It's why I reach out so often to tell you you're doing amazing work. It's why I tell you that you're awesome. It's why I tell you that I believe in you, because I know those words matter. I believe those words keep you focused. They keep you on your journey. They keep you heading down a path that is unlike any other path. And you clearly are walking at the front of the pack at 168 pounds down. And I love how you added the sentence of, but it's so much more. You're happy with all the things that you can do previously that I couldn't do. Man, I'd love to see that list. I'd love for you to write those things down slowly and methodically and outline it. And one by one, you would just talk about the things that now it's the whole new world to you. Keep doing what you're doing, Rochelle. I'm very, very proud of you. Keep up the amazing work. Let's get this done. Let's be the prize. Let's show everybody else how awesome it is. The last email of the show tonight comes in from Karen. And Karen sent me this email today. And we went back and forth a little bit after she sent me the email. I'll be honest with you, as I was reading her email today, I ended up reading it earlier in the day, and I got through about maybe the third paragraph, and I actually had to stop. It hit me pretty hard. It hit me pretty deep, and I can't wait to read it to you. And I think I'm going to be able to get through the whole thing, but this is validation of what we're doing. And so it took me a couple minutes to write through and to read it a couple times. And then I emailed her back and said, an amazing email. And was it did it feel good to get it out? And she said, yes, it's like therapy. And, I tell you folks, that's why I ask you to write it down, is because there's a freeing feeling of letting this stuff out that kind of just, it's that last bit of this journey. It's the last thing that we're hanging on to that's holding us back. And so here's Karen's email, and it's absolutely incredible and beautiful. So it starts off and it says, "Hi, Mike. I'm Karen in your Weight Watchers meeting on Tuesday nights, and the mom of the young man, Trevor, that approached you this weekend that you mentioned on podcast episode 175. And I'm the sister of Pam from episode 169. You have changed my life, and I wanted to say thank you. I joined Weight Watchers in January 2017, and I was doing well. I was making progress, but I felt the focus slipping. I saw you on Connect, and I started following you and listening to your podcast. By browsing your website, I saw that you were going to be at the same Weight Watcher location that I go to, just a different evening. I thought that maybe you were going to be a guest speaker, and I wanted to meet you. When I attended the meeting, I quickly figured out that this was your meeting. I'm incredibly shy, and I didn't want you to think I was a stalker, so I said nothing at the time. I switched my weigh-in day to Tuesdays because you motivate me, and I wanted you in my corner, cheering me on when life gets hard. I have thought about writing in and sharing my story, but I've never had the courage until now. I guess Trevor's courage to approach you this weekend inspired and gave me the push that I needed. He's always been pretty shy too, and if he can do it, well, so can I. My son is my world. When he was not quite 2 years old, my now ex-husband was involved in things that I was clueless to. In 2001, it all unraveled and he was arrested. After a roller coaster of a year with jail visits, lawyers, court documents that I could hardly understand, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. We were told with good behavior and time cuts he could be out in 7 years. Trevor was only 2 at that time, and thinking about him at age 9 before he could see his dad, it seemed like forever. This rocked my world beyond belief. How was this my life? I felt so betrayed, and I didn't know what I could do to make it. I have wonderful parents. I miss you, Dad. And they helped me together. All I could do to get through the day was concentrate on how much Trevor needed me, and I did what I needed to do to take care of him. I ate all of my emotions. This continued year after year. I ate whatever tasted good to me in any quantity that I wanted, and the weight was piling on. After all that I'd been through, I deserved this, right? I would try to lose weight sometimes, but always gaining it all back plus more. I lived about 3 hours from the prison that my husband was in, and I drove back and forth to visit him every 2 weeks for about 6 years until I decided I couldn't do it anymore, and I filed for divorce. In 2016, I had torn my meniscus in my right knee, and I needed surgery. I was at a very low point in my life and was not doing anything to take care of myself. I got a call from the surgeon's office. They said that they were looking at my chart, getting ready for my surgery that was scheduled, and they said that my BMI was too high to do the surgery at the normal surgery center. They needed to do it at the hospital because I was too high of a risk. In the end, my surgeon thought I would be all right, and he went on with it as previously scheduled. I prayed that he was right. I had high blood pressure, and I was doing nothing to manage it. The nurses getting me ready for surgery scolded me about not managing this, and I felt about as low as I possibly could. I had turned a minor surgery into something life-threatening because I was not taking care of myself. What was I doing? Why did I care so little for myself? I vowed if I ever got through this, I was going to turn my life around. I thought about how much I still needed my parents' love and advice, and as a woman in her 40s, and how I was not going to be here much longer for my son, going the rate that I was going. It took me a few months to get my motivation up, and my sister encouraged me to join Weight Watchers. Thanks, Pam. Thanks for letting your little sister tag along once again. Trevor is now 18 and a senior in high school. He's getting ready to begin a new adventure, and I'm so excited for what his future holds. I'm also a little sad when I think about having an empty house. I wonder, will I gain all the weight back if Trevor's not here? He holds me accountable, and has on more than one occasion has FatDagged me out of eating something that was tempting. Although being here for Trevor is my biggest why, I now know I am worth it all on my own. I have forever thought of myself as just a daughter, a sister, a wife, a mother, and a friend. Through this journey, I am learning that I am enough just for being Karen. When I thought that I deserved all of that unhealthy food that I was eating, I was wrong. I deserve so much more. I deserve to be healthy, happy. I deserve a better life. I'm happy to say that I've lost 107 pounds so far. I have many more to go, but I know that I'm going to get there. Thank you for giving us all encouragement and letting us know that this is possible. If we want it at all, we have to go after it. I listen over and over to your podcast, and it keeps my head in the game. Thank you. Thank you for your service to our country and for all that you do for this community. Thank you, Karen. Karen, I think you know pretty sure how I feel about this, and I'm incredibly proud of you. And it's funny to see your version of the story in a sense where, I remember when you popped into the meeting room. Of course, I don't remember the very first time. I'm sorry, but I do remember as you slowly kept methodically checking in and dropping the weight and dropping the weight and dropping the weight, and that's, as a leader, I tell you, sometimes that's when you start getting on our radar in a sense where, it's very easy in that room of that size to kind of lose, a little track of who's doing what, but those who show up week after week and get it done, they stand out. You absolutely got my attention. Your son is an amazing young man. You've done a phenomenal job raising him. You've done such an amazing job with all that you've been given to manage it. And as you put yourself now first, as you now understand that what it truly takes in this journey is you focusing on you, that is the absolute best thing you can give back to Trevor. And I love how you opened your email saying that, that obviously you're pretty shy. I knew that, right? I think everyone in our meeting room knows that, but I think it's pretty cool. And then, him being shy as well, but him mustering up the courage to go. And I said it yesterday in the podcast, his mustering up the courage to come up to someone he doesn't even know and say, "Excuse me, are you FatDag? And I want to thank you because you completely changed my mom's life." And amazing courage that took. I don't know that I would have been able to do that either. And so you're right. If he's able to do it, that's what prompted you to now to document this side of your life. And, and as we share it with everybody, what I'm the most proud of in your journey is that you have recognized things that have been holding you back for so long. There are other people who now, through your testimony, will muster up the courage and the strength to identify their journey, and it will encourage them to not give up. When they see that all that you've been through, that you've raised an amazing son, that you have an amazing life, and that you're down 107 pounds, it makes it very easy for someone else to go, okay, then I can do this. If Karen can do this, then I can do this. If FatDag can do this, then I can do this. If any of the hundreds of people out there who have done this, then there isn't a scenario yet that I've yet to identify that says this can't be done. And so, Karen, by you writing in, by you taking up the courage and having a one-on-one therapy session via email, right, as you take that opportunity, what you have done for this community is priceless. You've shown them that it takes focus, it takes dedication, and that there will be times in our lives where it's okay to focus on other things, but when it's time to focus on us, we've got to focus on us, and the rest of our life falls into place because of it. So, your amazing story is it's awesome in the sense of it's such a victorious celebration of all that is right, and that you put yourself first. And as you've gone through so many things, that the surgery, as I was reading that this afternoon, is my heart broke for you in a sense where I was like, oh my, goodness, this could be so many of us at any moment in time where, routine surgery just is not a term that I don't even think the doctors like to use. And being at a high risk and now, high blood pressure, not managing it. And unfortunately the nurse is scolding you. Unfortunately there's no place for that. But the reason you didn't care for yourself is because you just didn't know that you needed to. With all that was handed to you, you were caring so well for this young man. He turned out absolutely awesome as a result. Let's go, Mom. Let him go. He's 18. You're always going to be his mom, right? But it's time for him to begin his new adventure. It's time for you to continue your new adventure. You were doing exactly what you needed to do to make sure that this young man was very well supportive and a productive member of this entire society. That was your job back then. You did it fantastic. I'm glad he FatDags you on occasion, keeps you accountable. It sounds like you're an amazing team, and he's your strongest why. And so now, as you continue your weight loss journey, 107 pounds down, think about that for a second. I started thinking back at what I thought was interesting is when Trevor came up to me, and I'll be honest with you, right? And you're in my meeting, so you know this. I'm not super awesome with names, and some details sometimes escape me. But when he told me who you were, I instantly knew, and I said, I think she's down 110 pounds, right? And he looked at me and said, yeah. So you're saying 107? I was off by 3 pounds. I think you've done what you need to do. You've gotten the attention of the rest of the community. You have people who are now going to reach their goal because Karen did it. How awesome is that? And you're right, as you were, going through this journey and thinking that, you deserve better and you deserve the unhealthy food that you're eating and understanding that it's all wrong is so awesome. So you're clearly on an amazing journey, Karen. It's an honor to walk with you. It's an honor to celebrate with you. It truly is going to be awesome and an amazing honor to watch you physically reach goal. Watch the scale say that you reach goal. I can tell day in and day out that you've mentally reached goal, and that's because you've finally, again, put you first, and you're getting it done. Karen, thank you for being an amazing wingman to this community. And again, thank you for raising Trevor to be what I can tell just in the brief moment of interaction we had. What an amazing, amazing young man. Congratulations, Mom. It's time to celebrate. What is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com. Click on Listen Now. Send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. If you understand what we're doing, you'll understand the value of sending in the email. It's not just that I don't necessarily need to read it on the show. The reason I want to share it is because I'm positive other people feel the same way. I only have a small life experience that I can share. This is so much more than us. So much more than me. This is about us. This is about us sharing every corner of our life so that we reach every corner of the world. If we relied strictly on my journey to tell the story, then all you'd get is one military guy and one story, and it wouldn't resonate with the community. But as you write in your email, one, it's good for you to get it out. It's good for you to put it on paper. And as we read it and as we share it with the community, it helps other people know that they can do it. And on top of that, I really, really want you to be proud of being a part of this amazing journey that we are on to completely change the world. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you could focus. Thank you for listening to the WhysAdvice podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit FatDag.com, click on Become a Patron today.